Hey, I'm Saving Content's own Ed Acosta, and welcome to dotEXE, a saving content podcast. It's Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, and you're listening to episode number 1. I'll be your host for this brand new podcasting adventure, and along for the ride is my co-host and sibling, Eric Acosta.
Hello, that is me, the brother.
So, as I mentioned earlier, you've tuned your ears into Saving Content's newest podcast, dotEXE. Here, we'll talk a little bit about us, and we'll share our experiences in gaming. Then, as the meat and potatoes of the podcast here, we'll dive right into a topic of discussion for the week. All right, so before we get into our catch-up, our what have we been playing type of thing, maybe we should explain the name a bit. So, the name, you know what, Eric, you tell us a little bit about the name, because this was something that you kind of caked up a little bit.
Yeah, so I was laying in bed night and trying to think of some podcast names, and I was thinking of what's kind of gaming / computer old school, because that's really what we are, right? We're older school gaming, and I was thinking file extensions, .exe. Wait a minute. Okay. Hey, that's kind of nifty.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of dorky looking, kind of dorky saying. And that was actually the first one I came up with. And then
dorky saying for dorky guys.
Well, that's it. That's exactly how I figured. Dorky saying for dorky guys. And I came up with a bunch.
Well, what brought me to that one is I saw the EXE, and right away I just initially thought EXE, Ed cross Eric. It just works. It's both of us.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny you had mentioned that. And first thing when I said to my family about .exe as a podcast name, my middle daughter goes, "Oh, Ed and Eric." And I'm like, yeah. Okay. And I did not register at all until you had mentioned it.
Okay, well, let's get this thing rolling so that you guys kind of get an idea of how this show is structured. So let's start off with what have we been doing since the last time we recorded? By the way, we recorded a podcast 0, episode 0, but you probably won't hear that because the audio is kind of Or maybe we'll release it later. Who knows? So what have we doing since podcast 0 that you guys didn't hear? Well, let me start with you, Eric.
All right, well, that's what I've been doing. Gaming, as always.
Of course.
I've been playing Pokemon Fire Red emulator.
The emulation of Fire. I had Fire Red on the GBA.
Yes, you did.
And I enjoyed it.
It was. I had blue, but I've been playing Fire Red, and my main goal there is still to get every Pokemon in the game and get every one of them to a level 100. So that's
that is insane. That's an insane goal.
Now, it is an easier goal with an emulator.
Yes, because you can adjust and cheat and do things.
Well, I can adjust speed. That's what I'm doing. I'm speeding up. So when I'm walking and fighting, and the Fire Red emulator also has, because it's not the original game, it is the remake at the Gen 3 or 4 or something. So it had the Versus Seeker.
Oh, right. So that you can go find trainers. Yes.
Right. I can refight trainers. Yep. So I've been doing that. So that does make it significantly easier than the original games. It's still a slog.
So in Fire Red, I believe you get a national dex so that you can find Pokemon from Gen 2 and 3 in the game as well, or at least trade them over.
Correct.
Are you doing 100 for the national dex or just the Kanto dex?
I'm starting with just the Kanto, and then when all those become 100, then I will slug over to the national, and that's probably going to take a while.
You're nuts.
Well, I've been playing.
You're nuts.
Oh, I can't tell you how many hours, but I can definitely say I've been doing it for at least 2 months right now, and I've got 18 of them. 18? 16 or 18, I can't remember. To 100 right now. So
That, that's too much. I can't. No, I enjoy playing Pokemon. I've been playing Brilliant Diamond and just beat the Elite Four. So that was a whole process. Uh, we were actually on a Discord call, and I was racing my sister-in-law, Eric's wife, uh, to beat the Elite Four because we were doing it at the same time, just coincidentally. So she won, by the way. I did not.
It was close though. She almost didn't.
Same here. That Garchomp was tearing through all my revives and potions. So
Oh yeah,
um, that
hers
was
was
something else.
the Milotic and the Garchomp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an intense setup. Um, other things I've been playing a little more non old school. We
Hmm.
played a little bit of Rainbow Six Extraction, with
Yeah, we were.
Abdul.
Yeah, Abdul of Saving Content fame as well has done a few reviews on the site. One of the early founders. Um, so we were trying to find something we can play multiplayer, something that has a PVE aspect, because you can only play so much Halo player versus player before you get frustrated. Or at least, I'll clarify, before I get frustrated
Oh no,
that
it's everyone. Unless you are super into it.
yeah.
Anyone that's not super into it gets frustrated very quickly. Trust me.
So, Rainbow Six Extraction, brand new. It's on Game Pass. Give it a try. There's no downside to just downloading it and trying it out.
Right.
And it's player versus everyone. PVE. That's the type of multiplayer I really enjoy, because I'd rather work as a team than work as a team fighting another team working as a team.
Right. Exactly.
So Extraction is, if you've ever played Siege, it's kind of like that, except it's, again, player versus everyone. You're not facing another team of another squad of people. You're actually fighting these aliens, and I was never really that into Siege, so I didn't have much high hopes going into Extraction, just because I knew how Siege played, and I wasn't quite sure. Uh, I
Yeah,
can
there was
I
an
can
expectation in there that I think we both had.
yeah, and I can say wholeheartedly that I don't think this game is for me. Uh, when Scott had asked me the other day if I actually liked it, because I we said we were playing it, me and Abdul were playing it, and he's like, "Well, did you like it?" And I'm like, "I don't know," because the game, I can see the things that the game does or could do well, and it would be things that would really hit me really well. So it's the stealth aspect. Ooh, I like stealth. It's the co-op nature of it, being as a team, got to work together, and it's not zombies. Granted, they're aliens that are kind of like zombies,
They're
but
close.
yeah, and it's wave based. Well, let me
It's
clarify.
not really
This
wave
one's
based.
not wave. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
be,
it's
because
proximity, or not proximity, location based. So like they
yeah,
spawn
because
in the area or already there.
yeah, because they have these little nests that pop up in the levels, and the nest will keep pumping out enemies. If you're spotted, they will pump them out at a quick pace, and they
Yeah.
just keep coming. So the game is separated into 3 stages, and each stage has an objective you need to complete within a certain time period. Once you've completed the objective, you go to the
Ne-
safe room to
yeah.
go over into the next stage.
Subzone, I think that's what they
Ideally,
call it.
yeah, something like that. Ideally, you want to make it through all 3 and then extract. But you can extract during each of those stages. So if you just finish the first one, go to the second one, and realize, no, we can't do this, you can go and extract and complete it and get the rewards, from there. Uh, we did not do that.
We extracted once, twice. We
Yeah,
saved Abdul's
so
character twice.
yeah, we saved Abdul's character twice. Uh, the other 3 times we played, we all died.
Yes.
On
So
easy, I should clarify. This is on easy.
on easy. So what does happen though? The reason we say saved Abdul's character is because uh, if all if a character dies, they go into like a stasis in like in game or in lore. They go into like a
Hmm.
stasis and then they get held by the alien, the
Yeah,
parasite or whatever. And then the next game you play, your last goal is to save that character. So you can't use that character
right.
for the other games you play until you've saved them. And I don't know if
Yeah.
there's a cooldown. We still haven't figured that out. If like
We have not
after.
figured it out. Yeah, if there's a cooldown. And the other thing is, well, what happens if you lose all of them?
Yeah, you're done playing. Ubisoft's like, you know what? You suck. So stop playing this game.
Yeah.
We're just gonna take them off from you. You don't get to play.
Yeah, I mean, we were joking. What? It was either they're going to have a cooldown and your first one is back in your roster, or they're going to say, hey, we have this new operator you can buy for this much money.
or, or you can always think of like, hey, you can contract out an operator for X amount of money, and someone else will come in and save one of your operators for you.
All right. So
That'd be
we
very
played
militaristic of you.
Extraction. Yeah. So it just overall, I don't know if that's game is for me. I mean, we may try it again just to see what we can pull out of it, but I don't think that PVE is for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where it goes though. Like I could certainly see where it could be for me. Um, it's just as it is. I don't know. I have no, I guess, interest in it. It feels too much like Siege. It feels too much like Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, the way Siege plays, it's not bad. It's just I don't think I enjoy it. So instead of doing Extraction, trying to find another game we could do co-op, uh, we looked at Deep Rock Galactic. And right now, Deep Rock Galactic is pretty much on everything. It's on
Mm-hmm.
Game Pass. So again, if you have Game Pass, there's no reason not to at least give it a try. Uh, it is still the PlayStation Plus game this month.
Correct. Yep. Still this month. It doesn't change till February. So you got a few days. We got a week, right? Week and a half.
So sure. So again, if you have PS Plus, go ahead and redeem it so that you have it in your library. But we tried that one, and I had played with a group beforehand, so I kind of went in knowing a little bit about it. So Deep Rock Galactic is also another PVE, objective based sort of game. You have these dwarves, and you go digging down into the dirt, trying to find different materials, different metals, or you know, um, irons or uh, minerals. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that, they give you objectives. So the one we did was find this many monkite. I forget what it's called.
Malachite, I think, or
Ma-
Morkite. Morkite.
Morkite? Sure, that
Yeah, I think
sounds
that's
right.
what it was.
So it had to find this many of that. And once you find all that, then you've completed the mission, you got to go back to your ship. So as you're making your way down in the, I guess you could say, cavern, uh, you're digging, you're going further down, you're finding different caves and different openings, uh, chasms, and all this other stuff. So depending on how far down you go, means uh, it's going to be that much harder for you to hike it back to your spaceship or drill ship or whatever it's called to head back to base and collect your rewards.
Which is exactly what happened to us.
Yeah, and we dug down very far and had to hoof it all the way back. barely made it back in time.
Well,
Uh,
some of that was because I didn't realize that when you call the drop pod back, the bugs that attack you throughout the thing
mhm.
start attacking you more. So like I see
Oh
Ed running in
yeah,
front of me. He turns a corner, and all of a sudden, this big bug in front of me in the tunnel is only as big
yeah,
as the bug. I'm like, um, okay,
yeah. Just trying to run away, not worry about killing them all. It's just like, you're in a panic. Just go, go, go.
right? It's
Uh,
go now, go now. It's definitely a go 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 situation.
so what did you think of Deep Rock Galactic?
I didn't mind it. I actually liked it. So when I first saw it a while ago, I saw it on some streams. I watched it, and I was like, not. I don't think that's for me. It's something about it just didn't. It didn't hit me right. When
Hmm.
I played it, I was far more interested in it. Um, I could continue it with people. I don't think a single player run on that is worth the while.
No,
Um,
no.
but I certainly think it's it's fun. I think one or it's not too long each round,
Hmm.
so you can do like one or two rounds, and it'd be what I think that took us like 30 minutes when we actually got in the game, if
Sure,
that.
it felt like a 30-minute run.
Yeah,
So for me, I can probably get into this, but it's one of those I think I need to get my character leveled up or something, just because the two classes that I've played so far, both weapons were they struck me as like just I don't like it.
very lackluster.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so the one character I think I was a scout or engineer.
You
Maybe it was
did
the
engineer
engineer.
once, and I
Well,
think
so
you
it was the
said you tried
engineer.
to scout once too.
No, it was the engineer once, and then I was the gunner when I
Oh,
was playing
gunner.
before you guys. Um, the engineer has a shotgun, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's bad.
uh, and then the gunner has this just an automated whatever type of gun. I guess you could say it's an assault rifle, but I think he holds it like a Gatling gun. I don't remember, and that thing
So
just is not accurate.
yeah, I picked that. I think I picked that one in the tutorial or something, or it was the one in the tutorial because I remember using that Gatling gun, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's that wind up kind of thing. It was weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it just I think I would enjoy the game more once the weapons are better, uh, and then trying to figure out like what everything looks like, so I can be aware of like, oh, I need to go find this, so I know what it looks like. I can just go find it. I don't have to use my
Yeah.
little radar thingy to highlight and be like, is this it? Is this it? So
Now I don't
I
know
think
if
after a few more, yeah.
yeah. See, I don't know if like initially when I first saw the game, because it was like in a beta or early access, that was like months ago. I was
Hmm.
pretty sure there was a timer on it at the beginning. Like it wasn't just like you get landed or drop down in the miner and then you go find. Like you had a time limit because they only let you down for so long, and then you can call the pod back or whatever. Because I vividly remember that in those let's plays that I saw. Um, I like that that's not the case now.
Yeah, I don't like having a time limit. So like extraction, each of those stages, they're
Yeah,
timed. And boy, is that stressful. I think I would like extraction more if I had no stress for the time. If I could just go in there and we complete everything on our own pace, I think I would be much more open to playing more of that.
oh yeah. Well, there's already more than enough stress in extraction as the gameplay.
Yeah.
Um, then the time is not. I don't think that's a necessity. I think that should definitely
I don't.
be a like, hey, rank up. Do you want it? Harder level, harder difficulty. Add time.
Yeah, then make it timed. Not on your base level,
Yeah.
where you're trying to get people to play and enjoy.
Oh yeah. You got to open it up for the simples, like I am.
Hmm. So we got into Galactic, and playing both of those got me thinking, and I'm sure it got you thinking too. Man, I really miss the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, the Legendary Edition that they released last year doesn't have any multiplayer on it. But you know what does? Andromeda.
Andromeda. Mass Effect's
Now,
arguably best game in the series.
so whether you like it or not, I enjoyed Andromeda,
I did
even
too,
with all
actually.
its bugs and everything.
Yeah.
It has the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer in it. It is basically the same thing. So we were all sitting around here and trying to find something to play after Galactic. And I'm going through the store trying to find, something that maybe we can all buy.
Right. It
And
was
I
me,
see
it
that,
was me, Ed, and a mutual friend we had playing.
yeah, a mutual friend. Uh, we were all looking. I happened to stumble upon Andromeda. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got my disc copy here. We could all play. Oh my gosh, it is on sale. So what a great what great timing.
Right?
I
And
could,
it was one of those like, oh, it's on sale. And my immediate thought was, oh, it's probably like, normally $30 and it's on sale for like 20. And I was like,
yeah.
see. And then I think our mutual friends looked at it and was like, dude, it's $10.
And
I'm like,
$10 is a good price.
okay, I'm in. I'm down. I'm down $10. Says my wife beat the Legendary Edition, and she
Hmm.
was kind of hinting at wanting to try out Andromeda. So I'm like, hey, you know what? She wants to probably play it or try it. Let's just go for it. $10. Why not?
Exactly. So I installed my copy. Everybody else got theirs downloaded and installed. We played a few matches, and boy, that that is exactly what I needed.
Oh yeah.
Today, I was doing stuff outside the house, and all I could think about was I need to get home so I could play some more Mass Effect
Right?
multiplayer.
Oh yeah. Same thing. And I'm not one to replay games. And typically, if it's an older game, I'm not generally back. I don't tend to get back into it, uh,
Right.
barring like Pokemon, right? Because those are kind of like I'm not in Pokemon games for graphical fidelity, right? But
Yeah. No.
yeah, but Andromeda, getting back into that. I was like, you know what? If this game came out now, new, it
Hmm.
wouldn't be the best looking game, but it's certainly no slouch. Um, it's
I mean,
certainly.
Frostbite does it some good,
Oh yeah.
even for the problems that the team had using Frostbite. It makes the game look nice.
It was, yeah, it was still very beautiful, and honestly, it was pretty smooth. I forgot
Yeah,
how smooth the game actually did play, multiplayer wise. Um,
I would do wish somebody at EA or BioWare would go back to the Andromeda uh, code and just update it for the new console so that it runs at a 60 frames.
yeah,
Just something that's a little nicer.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, not being a coder, I understand that that is not just we can say that and be like, just go back and make some update. Like, yes, I realize that does take some time, but
Hmm.
hey, I mean, they rebooted the Legendary Edition. Give Not necessarily don't have to give Andromeda the treatment because it is still relatively new, I guess you could say. Uh, but definitely give that multiplayer. Bring that guy back. Bring it in. It is solid. It is fun. It is worth
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, EA could have a second, uh, free to play game if they just do the Mass Effect multiplayer as a free to play, and
Oh yeah.
then uh, they could monetize it like they do Apex and all that fun stuff. It would still be fun. If you're not familiar with the Mass Effect multiplayer, it is basically wave based, player versus everyone. So if you're familiar with Horde mode from Gears, Fire Team from uh, Halo. It is the same thing. You fight these enemies, and once you've defeated that wave, you get a little bit of a cooldown, and more come. On the bronze setting in the Mass Effect multiplayer, it is 7 waves, and then once you get to the harder tiers, it's 10 waves, and every 3 waves, I believe, they throw out a mission or an objective you need to do, and unfortunately, those are timed, but
Yeah.
uh, you have to do those, and then you go back to doing some survival ones. So it mixes it up a little bit so that you're not just sitting there only shooting enemies. You kind of got to go do something too. But it is exactly the type of game that speaks to me because I like being able to work as a team and fight computer players.
Right. It's that I've always liked the wave slash horde mode multiplayers, and in
Hmm.
general, like they just speak to me better, just because I don't necessarily need the trolling of other people. That
Oh
almost,
yeah, it's always the other people that just make it worse.
yeah. I mean, it can be a very toxic. Like, yes, multiplayer can be fun, and you can make new, friends and acquaintances and relationships, and it's great. But just
Hmm.
as many friends and acquaintances you can make, you can meet trolls and toxic people so easily, and it's just not worth that chance, in my opinion.
No, I don't. I just sometimes I've done like uh, playing Halo Infinite, for example, just doing some of the battle pass challenges and everything. It's fine. Uh, I haven't run into any just upsetting matches or anything because someone is just being, they're running the gamut or something, steamrolling everybody. But
Right.
it's still enjoyable. But there are some games out there where it's like they're either cheating, or they're just being a jerk. Grand Theft Auto 5, great example of just people either modding or cheating, or they're just being assholes.
Yep.
You go and do your mission that you're working on, and then here just comes some guy runs you over, and you're dead, and you got to go restart the whole thing. No, I don't find that experience great.
Well, and I think a lot of people mistake trolling and just being jerks for stories. So, like, one-off stories. Like, you can't get this story from a computer player. A computer, AI is not going to create this kind of like off the wall, crazy, you know, interesting thing that happened because another human player created this. I get that, but not everyone wants to be running on the street to go to the casino because they're just trying to get their daily thing and then get blown up 30 times because now there's a battle above the casino of 4 other people online that have
Hmm.
no bearing over. You don't care. You don't want to deal with them, but they just won't. They see you and you're a player and they want to shoot. They want to kill you. Like,
Yeah,
we played with our cousin. It's fun playing with her, but it's not fun playing with everyone else in the area.
right. It's the other people that make it annoying. When there's barely anybody in there, or they leave you alone, game's great.
Yeah, and I found a slight trick that will help clear out one of our, when we're playing, clear out for a little bit where it's just us, but it does eventually fill up because it's a server that has to stay open. Because if you play on, I forget what they call it, but private mode basically, you can
Hmm.
do a lot of things, but you can't do like the mission, the CEO missions and the stuff that make you like the good money. You can't do those things.
Yeah, yeah. They basically pigeonhole you into playing with other people,
Right.
uh, because if you want to earn the money to be able to buy new things or do new things, you gotta play in a open server.
Right. Well, it reminds me of like, uh, kids or people on like, on the at a high school dance or whatever. Those that are just sitting and talking, and then the people that are dancing come over and like force the people that are talking to dance. Like, you'll have fun. I promise it'll be great. Oh, stop being a lump over there. It's not fun. Come on, dance. Like, that's what I equate it
No,
to.
no. Yeah, and then they throw a Molotov at your table and it catches on fire and you have to respawn somewhere. Yeah,
Exactly. Respawn.
totally.
It's like, now I gotta get my shoes again.
So before we get into our actual topic for today, is there anything else you wanted to cover?
Real quick. Just started today. Got in Pokemon Shining Pearl. Got the Palkia, and
Oh, nice, nice.
I made the stupid decision that I'm going to get a
Bef-
shiny Palkia.
Okay, so I was about to ask, what did you name the Palkia?
Haven't
But
named it yet.
obviously, you have not caught him yet because you're restarting every time until you get a shiny.
Yes, I started that today at 12-ish, something like
12
that.
noon.
Maybe. Oh, no.
Okay.
Actually, it was 9 o'clock. I started doing that at 9 o'clock, and I just stopped. What, we started this podcast 30 minutes,
Well,
something
yeah,
ago.
we'll say about 30 some minutes ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about when I stopped. So
Cool.
still no shiny.
So just so it's just enter the match, see he's not shiny, restart the switch, enter the match, well, boot up the game,
Yeah,
enter
reboot.
the
Yeah,
match.
soft boot the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, so
Yeah.
more power to you. I can't. I would just keep playing. I was like, okay, I don't he's not shiny. I don't care.
I don't have that much invested there. I don't care. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just something in my head. Something in my mind's like, no, you can, so you should. Now, mind you, there's another way of doing it.
Ah,
There is another way of doing it. You can beat Palkia, defeat him, not catch him, defeat him completely, beat the
uh-huh.
final of the Elite Four and the champion, and then after that, you can go
Right.
back to Mount Coronet, and then after you've gotten the charm, the shiny charm, which makes the shiny rate to like 2,000 something, I think, instead of
Okay.
4,096, and then you can fight him again to catch him. Then,
Oh, so if you didn't catch him the first time.
well, yeah, as long as you defeat him, you can't like, yeah, you can't have caught him already. You have to defeat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they're not going to give you the option to catch two Palkias.
well, they should, because I want to.
All right. All right, on that note, let's get into our topic for the week. So, if you've heard or if you haven't been living under a rock, what was it? Monday, Tuesday?
I think it was Monday. Yeah.
Uh, early in the morning, like for me, it was normal 8 o'clock, but if you think about it on West Coast time, it was what 5, 6? I don't know. It's a 3 hour
Probably.
time difference.
Yeah.
So Microsoft had put out a press release in Twitter and Facebook and just a blast saying how they are welcoming to the family Activision, Blizzard, and King. So for I think it was 67 point blah blah $billion or 68 point some $billion. At some point the number is just too big and you lose all track of how big it actually is.
Yeah, it's just
So
ridiculous. It's
yeah, so
one thing I've seen is 68.7 billion. Everyone's saying
yeah,
69 billion. I mean, that's a better number, right?
right, but they should have, and then everybody could have been nice.
Nice.
But I'm sure somewhere some talks had happened. And it's like we can't. But also from 60 whatever it is to 69, that's a couple billion. Just saying a couple billion has no impact on me. But if you were to look at how many zeros that is, holy crap, it's a lot of money.
I mean, even to Microsoft saying, a couple billion off, that's, you know, these are two
Yeah.
big companies. That's a couple billion is at this juncture and in time is just, minuscule. I mean, look how big Disney and stuff are, right? Small.
Right. I mean, heck, the Marvel acquisition for Disney was like only 5 billion or something like that,
Yeah.
and this one is 60 some. So I mean, that's a lot.
Yep.
But we're not here to talk about the monetary aspect. Companies have tons of money and they buy other companies all the time. What we're going to focus on here today is the consolidation of studios. Is Microsoft buying and bringing the Activision, Blizzard, and King brands under their stable of Microsoft Game Studio stuff good for the industry, or is the consolidation of everything bad?
Yeah, that's that key question there. A key point there, is bringing all of these companies, these developers, under one kind of rule, right? A good thing. And let's be real here, it's not Microsoft that started this, right? It was Tencent.
Well, I mean,
Tencent said,
Tencent's all they've and technically Tencent didn't start it either. I mean, everybody buys everybody. At some point, you make a lot of money. You're going to buy the lower tier stuff and add them to your portfolio, quote unquote, for whether it's the people, whether it's the IP, whether it's the resources.
or to just
You're
get
going
them
to
off the
swallow
market.
them up. Yeah, that's the other one. That's another competition tactic. So with the Microsoft one here, Microsoft has built a lot of goodwill since everything kind of went down with the Xbox One. And you could say, they are seen as like the quote unquote the heroes in the gaming space right now.
Certainly.
So for you, Eric, you hear them buying, and bringing into the fold the Activision Blizzard stuff. Uh, is this a good move? Do you think? We'll start with for Microsoft. Is it a good move for the Activision Blizzard folks, and is it a good move for the industry as a whole?
I personally would say to the first question, it is a great move for Microsoft, right? You
Mm-hmm.
pull in so many properties and
Tons of
IPs
them.
that people loved and had good will towards or good thoughts of. You have the Crash Bandicoot series, you've Candy Crush in general for King. I mean, and then
Yeah,
the whole stable of Activision stuff, Tony Hawk,
yeah.
all those
Just stuff
things.
that Activision
Sat
hasn't
on.
been touching in years because they've been basically a Call of Duty farmhouse.
Right,
Just every developer that you own work on Call of Duty stuff because that's what makes money.
right. That's what
So
brought
they've
them the
had all
cash,
these
yeah.
different, yeah, they have all these IPs that have just been uh, in limbo. So yeah, I agree with you. I think this is really great for Microsoft. They have this wide portfolio of stuff that they can now access, and there are people on the Microsoft team, Phil Spencer specifically, who they grew up with games. You could say that they are game. He is a gamer like us, and everybody else in the management area who make these types of decisions probably about the same. Uh, so you can imagine how excited and tickled pink he is to have access to these different uh, IPs. To hopefully we would all want them to share the love and make games under these IPs so people can enjoy them once again, or maybe just do remasters and re-releases until a new game comes out.
Right.
But yeah, for Microsoft, this is
It's a win.
absolutely great.
It's 100% a win for
Absolutely a
Microsoft.
win.
For Activision employees, 100% a
Uh
win,
huh.
right?
Oh yeah. So I think for as a whole, for Activision, Blizzard, and everybody, it's a win because you know th- they're gonna be folded into a work atmosphere that from all from everything that people can understand just by talking to employees or knowing how their business is run and everything. they could come in here and not necessarily fix everything, but make the work environment for everybody much better.
Well, and I think what happens here is that Activision and Blizzard gets rolled into Microsoft, and it's not necessarily that there is a better working condition. It is a more structured and held accountable working condition. Not that Microsoft is perfect. No corporation is. Let's be very
Hmm.
clear about that, right? No corporation
Right.
is without their faults, and Microsoft has had
Corporations
their
are
own.
not your friend.
No, exactly. Corporations are not your friend. They are there to take your money at the end of the day. It is a
Yes.
business transaction. I give you money, you give me product. That's about it, right?
Hmm.
But Activision Blizzard being rolled in with Microsoft, it gives structure, it gives stability, it it gives a more accountability, more accounting to the things that they do. Because when Activision Blizzard
Yeah.
was its own, yes, they're a huge company. Yes, they did worldwide international business, but it was still very much seen a boys club, or if you want to call it that, or just a smaller run kind of did their own thing, right? Microsoft,
Yeah.
it's
Very few at
in
the top who make the decisions, and
right,
whether they look upon any faults that are happening underneath them positively, negatively, or ignore them.
right. Whereas Microsoft, I mean, you know, they're doing business not only in the game space, but they're doing business in all aspects of tech. So they're held to a different standard. And if you roll into
Sure.
that, you're being absolved into that, you are also held to that same standard. So it's going to take time. It certainly is. It can't just be fixed one and done. But
Oh no.
for the company and for the employees specifically, it'll be better. It's going to hurt, I think, the unionizing thing that's happening with Ravencroft Studio, I think is what it's called. Um,
It's Raven Software.
Ravensoft, that's what it is.
Yeah, I think it'll be a hiccup along their way. Uh, Inevitably, I do believe someone somewhere is going to have full unionization and look out for the workers.
Mhm.
But
Well,
this might just be a sidestep
yeah,
in their getting recognition as a union.
yeah. And see, I am not one way or the other with unions. In the business that I work in, I've worked with people in unions and without union, not in a union, and I can see the benefits and the negatives. And there are benefits and there are negatives, and they're both very
Hmm.
extreme. So, it all depends on how the union works and how they see it. If they see the union as a business, that's where you start having issues. It's a business with the side of a business, and you can't. That causes more strife than it helps anybody. But
Right,
it's
and
definitely
that's
a
tech.
blip here.
You're right, and technically that's beside the point.
Yeah,
We're looking at whether the actual them being under the Microsoft umbrella is helpful, and we're both in agreement. We think it
it
is.
is 100.
So
percent
for
Yeah,
both parties, great. This is a great acquisition. Obviously for Bobby Kotick, he's going to get paid out a lot of money,
yeah. There's that.
even though
The I guess what's the opposite of a silver lining?
a, a golden parachute.
Yeah, there you go. A golden parachute, 100%.
Yeah. So there really is no way that he walks away from this without a huge payday.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
even with reputation, if his reputation would be in shambles, what does that mean to him now, right?
yeah, he's got a lot of money. He can go work on another board somewhere, not a CEO, but
And just be hidden,
some member of some board. Yeah, and just basically earn money in the dark for the rest of his life.
and no one will ever know. Yeah, and us peons will never understand or know where he actually is, or what he's doing. And honestly,
Right.
he'll probably never change because he doesn't have
Oh,
to.
of course not.
Yeah,
He doesn't have to.
yeah.
It is that's how he not grew up, but that's
How he
how
functions now.
he has lived his life.
Yeah,
So, again, it's an all boys club when you get up to the top ranks like that, and everybody looks out for one another to make sure that no one else gets lifted.
Yep.
So it is
But
what it is.
here's where I think the worst part about this acquisition
Mm-hmm.
is the consumer. Um, it doesn't necessarily help us. It might help us in what the general short term for having new games and stuff come out. But
Right.
when you have a lot of different companies and different game studios under one company, you
Mm-hmm.
know, if they're aligned with how you feel and how what you think are worthwhile products, great. But if it doesn't, say Microsoft decides that, hey, Tony Hawk really wasn't all that great, we're not gonna do anything with it. Like what Activision did, right? And they start shelving things that
Right.
maybe people like, or they turn them into something different. Um,
I
you
mean,
have
that's
no
true.
recourse to that.
They own it, so
Yeah, they own it. They have it. But what also, in my opinion, that does is that so much buying up of stuff, obviously lowers competition. And
right.
in a business, in a market, with product, let's look at EA and Madden. Hey, I love Madden.
It's
I do.
yeah,
But no football competition has made that game so
so
stale.
stale.
Oh, yeah. It's fun to
So
play just because it's a football game, but I can't play it for more than a few games because
yeah,
there's nothing to it. No one's no one's fighting
so
them to make it better.
so to go along with your point here, um, it's I can see it being bad for the consumer, but I can also see a benefit for the consumer in two ways. First way is that typically when mergers like this happen, some people don't come along.
Right.
Some people would rather, you know, do their own thing, or they figure, oh, this is a good time to leave and go start my own stuff. So with mergers like this, a lot of the time you will get brand new studios. And with brand new studios comes new IP or just new work environment, a new group of people, or a group of people who's worked together and now they're on this new thing. So you could say it creates jobs. You could say it creates more content. So there is that option out there that that could happen. The other thing that it helps the consumer with is, like we were saying earlier, Microsoft's got this big catalog now to pull from, and they're not afraid to go and try new things. They've pulled classics out of their vault to either remaster, redo, or just make a sequel to. I mean, shoot, they've got the whole backwards compatibility thing where they've gone through as many of the 360, as many of the Xbox original games to make them run super well on a Series X and S. Uh, so they're not sitting there just scratching their heads like, what do we do with all this? They understand that you know people care and people do enjoy these older games, so why not make them run the best that they can? So with this huge IP portfolio that they have, I could totally see them adding stuff to the Game Pass service, bolstering that up, which is probably why this whole purchase went into the first place, is
Oh yeah,
just to give them more content.
100%. I
Uh,
guarantee that was their main goal. And I mean,
yeah,
honestly, what I had mentioned to some friends I was talking about when the whole Blizzard Activision Bobby Kotick thing happened, I was like, what's going to happen is their stock is going to tank, and someone bigger is going to get buy them or break them up
yeah.
after their stocks tank, because it's just going to be easy at that point. And I'm when I heard it, Microsoft buying Activision, I was shocked in general, but then I went, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Oh yeah, it's very shocking because you have this large third party who for over the years has just been like this major player in
Just every
different games and different
right.
genres. Call of Duty, Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk, Skylanders.
Hmm.
You say these names, and these were like tent poles at one point, or now. So you don't think of one without thinking video games.
Yeah. In some aspect, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So for the consumer, I think it's also a good thing. Uh, because it just hopefully brings out more variety. Now, granted, all of this stuff is just speculative. We're not going to be able to say Microsoft is definitely going to do this or that. But based off of track record, you can assume, things could happen this way.
Right. You can extrapolate with what they've done previously and I mean, Spencer is not, he's not a young spry chicken, but he's certainly not, up there in age where, you know, he's only got a few good years left. He's got a ways to go. So I think his vision for Xbox, because let's be real, he's the Xbox division head, right? I think he just named
He
new title or
is
something.
he is CEO of Xbox
Yeah.
Game Studios
So-
or Xbox Services or whatever their title is. Basically anybody with Xbox in their name, job title,
Goes down.
reports to him.
Right. So, he's not. He's at Microsoft, but he is still he's a major player in Microsoft.
Yeah.
But
I-
he's
I
definitely
think-
not big boy Microsoft.
I think the only person higher than he is, I think he reports directly to Microsoft CEO. I can never pronounce the name right. Natalia.
Yeah, I know you don't. I forget his.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The guy up the top.
Right.
I think Spencer reports directly to him. That's how high on the the food chain he is.
Right. But that's how, I mean, me working in the business I work in, that's just how corporations work, right? You've got
Yeah.
as the CEO of a overall company, you cannot by any means maintain every facet of the company. You need to have a substructure. So yes, he may not be the top guy, but he's up there. But like I said, that's the thing, is he is not the overall calling the shots. So at some point, he could be told and instructed, yeah, that's not the way we're going. As long as this Xbox thing, right, makes the money and flows the way
Mhm.
and maintains itself, it can work out. But knowing corporations and just knowing that structure, when things can start sliding and backsliding and falling in a way that doesn't look great, at the end of the day, he can be told what to do. And that's not just from the CEO, that's also from a board, right? He can be told what to do or what not to do or what he
Right,
can and can't do
so-
and all that jazz.
Right. So what? I guess with all that said, what is the concern there?
So my concern there is that, like with something like Activision or a separate company who is their own dev, right? The top of the line CEO ends at the gaming aspect, where that's what they do, whereas the top of the line, the CEO, the end all be all say all of Microsoft, isn't necessarily always going to be a gaming minded person, isn't always going to be that person in the gaming space where they may see a value to it, right?
So I guess. Well, I guess I'm just trying to. What is the concern boiled down? Like, are you worried that because he has someone else that he can report to, the person up top can tell him, "Don't make Call of Duty."
Me, I wouldn't care for Call of Duty, but yes, like
Well,
that
I'm just
kind
using
of
that as an
yeah,
example.
that kind of thing can can in general happen. I don't think it'd be that drastic or that actually, honestly, I don't think it's that pointed, but if things slide, which it looks great, it's an upswing right now, everything looks good for Microsoft Xbox division, but that can, knowing business, that can change literally in a day. It can slide and it can
Yeah.
change and it can slide drastic. When you start hemorrhaging money and followers or whatever, you know, corporations do a lot of the, well, let's just cut ties, or let's drop it off and put money elsewhere. Like, not to say that that's going to happen, but it certainly is still a possibility. Whereas in a smaller sense of like a lot of smaller studios, they're not making these big budget games, but they're making good games, and they're
Mm-hmm.
making because it's what they know. And if they start hemorrhaging, they can't just sell off. I mean, they could sell to a company, right? A bigger company, but the majority of the time
So
they'll create and that necessity is a mother of invention.
So are you, just in a roundabout way then, are you trying to say that the concern for the consumer is that they may not get the games that they want, or and that the employees of these corporations could get laid off because of, you know, changing tides or management decisions?
I think
Is
it's
that the end goal of what you're trying to say?
it the end goal of what I'm trying to say is the first one. It's more of um, what is seen as valuable. So like what we all think Microsoft could do or should do or may do in making certain
Mm-hmm.
types of games or properties may not seem valuable to Microsoft. It just may seem more, I don't, for lack of a better term, shovelware, right, to them. And they might think, well, man, there's not enough base there for us to do anything with, so let's just can it. So
So I get the concern. The only thing with that is right now, the gaming division for Microsoft is doing very well, like
yes,
as you said, uh, and the reason Phil Spencer has just so much say and power is because he's led them with real good decisions here and there to be able to bolster everything up. And I don't know the figures or anything, but I keep hearing other people not speculate, but say things that like the Xbox division is one of the higher divisions within Microsoft right now. It's not the highest, obviously, because you still have Windows and Word and things like that, but it
right.
is up there. It's not like how Sony has the PlayStation division, which is like 90% of their company at this point.
Well, it's
Uh,
basically their company, yeah.
yeah, where everything else is kind of like losing money, but the PlayStation brand is just like steamrolling. It makes money.
Well, I mean, and that's pretty evident. And like, you look at how Sony is now using their camera technology in gaming. Like they are now seeing,
Hmm.
hey, this is what's making us the money. Let's put our other divisions into this. So they're using their camera technology for their VR stuff, the new VR headset that's coming out. So like, they have like the eye
Right, and
tracking
that
and
just
everything. It's like pretty crazy.
right, and that just goes to show uh, how important the gaming division is to Sony, just like how important the gaming division would be or is to Microsoft.
Yeah,
For Microsoft, they don't really care if you have the box. They want you to have the service because that's what they're focusing on is the Game Pass.
right.
And for all these new acquisitions, new IPs, and everything, it's like with Bethesda as well. You're bolstering that library. You know what I could see the team at Microsoft wanting to happen is Game Pass is on your Xbox, Game Pass is on your PC, Game Pass is on your TV, maybe with the streaming from the cloud. Game Pass is on your Switch and on your PS5. So ideally, that's where they want to go with it. They want you to be able to play your games anywhere. Whether or not that ever actually happens, there's business sense behind it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
and
but
and I
that's where they want to go.
right, I get it.
And this whole purchase is for that, is to have that.
Right,
So I could see it as a win for the consumers.
and I would say that in a general sense, but I still think that there is you can't it can't be a general yes. It is a win, um, overall
Oh yeah, well,
because you
that
have
things
to.
are yet to be seen.
Yeah, yeah, things are still coming out, but I mean, look, you have to look at Microsoft. At the end of the day, they were not and still are not really Microsoft as a company, the hero, right? Xbox may be the hero of the gaming division, but Microsoft is still very much a company that makes you pay for your operating system on your computer, which should be free. This you already paid for this device. The operating system should be free.
So, okay.
It's a subscription company. That's really what it boils down to, and that's why they
yes.
want Xbox to be on all the platforms, because they look for that subscription. And yeah,
Right.
you gotta make money.
I'm just saying, like, Windows 11 is free, and if you have a computer, unless you're building your own, you don't have to buy it. And that's kind of been Windows, MO, I guess you could say, for a while now.
If you have a previous Windows, yes.
Yeah, if you have a previous Windows, previous installation, even going all the way back through the upgrades from 95 to 98 to 2000 to XP to as long as you've got that code, that serial number,
right,
you can get these newer upgrades. And then if you buy a computer with it already installed on there, you can just get the upgrades. So you're only buying a copy of Windows if you're just starting from scratch.
Which is what I've done up until recently, because I just can't justify shelling out the money for an operating system anymore.
Oh,
but
right.
I mean, I've always built my own computers from scratch, because when I know how to do it, and it generally tends to be cheaper.
Yeah, because you can piece things together.
Yeah, but that's kind of getting off the track.
Just, so I guess in general, we're looking at this as it's a win for Microsoft. It's a win for the employees and the company, for Activision, Blizzard, and King.
Yeah.
And it's still yet to be seen whether this is a win for the consumer.
It's contentious.
Things can change at any moment. I think it's good, with some potentially
caveats,
caveats here and there, but time will tell.
Well, I mean, look at what my biggest worry is muddying of like product, of output. I mean, go into, and this is a weird tangent, but go into like the detergent, laundry detergent like world, and cleaning products. Like there's like, I think the big 3 or 4 companies that truly own everything. And you can't buy a product without buying it from one of those 3 or 4 companies. And then things are getting to the point where, like, hey, these 2 things used to be two very separate things, and now I'm realizing the packaging's the same, the writing and language is the same, the product almost itself looks the same, but why am I paying 2 different prices for it?
Right. Well, I mean, that's just capitalism. That's, that is big fish eating the small fish, making the small fish
do as I say.
Yeah. It is having 2 brands, and one being the economy brand and one being the luxury brand, just so that they can try to pull the most money out of somebody, or people in general.
Yeah.
But that's neither here or there. That's just how business is in the U.S. world, but U.S. specifically. Well, on that note, I think we've talked a lot today. So let's go ahead. We'll end this first episode and just kind of wrap things up. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today, lending your ears to our lovely voices. If you enjoyed our conversation, please visit savingcontent.com for more podcast magic over on the Quick Save podcast, our sister podcast. And while you're browsing the site, why not take a look at all the latest news and reviews that we have going up? I'm not sure what's going up this week or anything. I know I've got a slate of things I'm working on. Just recently, I put out a review for Paparazzi, a game about taking pictures of dogs. And it's cute and fun. Also on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, there's no reason not to try it out. You can read my review. I gave it... You know what? I'm not even going to say what I gave it. You can go read it. But if you want to reach out to us, you can do so on Twitter at savingcontent.com. Oh, at savingcontent. Forget the .com part. Finally, be sure to subscribe to us in your podcast feed of choice. And if you like the show, tell your friends. Help us grow. Me and Eric, would really appreciate it.
Word of mouth, baby.
Gotta bring up the grassroots campaign.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you all for listening today. And remember, kindness, it costs us nothing, but it means everything.